Hi guys, my name is Kade and I'm so super excited to be back. I'm back in YouTube and I am back for good. So it has been 11 months since the last time that I uploaded my last YouTube video, so it has been a very long time. And to be honest, after I uploaded my first YouTube video, I just couldn't keep uploading it. I had a lot of limiting beliefs, I had a lot of blockages, and I just couldn't work through them, which, you know, it was a sad reality, but I have been working on myself and on developing myself, so I feel in a much better place now. So I am ready to retake this project that I've been super excited since last year, but that somehow I just could not manage to push through. So in this video, what I want to do is that I want to give you I'm not sure, I don't want to say quick because I like to talk and I really want to take my time. I really want to kind of share with you what has been happening since last year. Because back then when I filmed my story in Finland video, it was in the spring of 2019. So basically I had just finished my university degree. I was about to graduate, if it's not that I had just graduated. So I graduated from the Bachelor of Business Administration from Savonia University of Applied Sciences. Finally, I could have not graduate on time. My degree was supposed to last for 3.5 years, but hello Jade that was working, and hello Jade that wanted to get the highest possible grade from her thesis. Yeah, couldn't graduate on time. I had to take 6 months, but at the end of the day, that just makes sense for me, or it made sense for me, since it did not only allow me to, you know, get the grade that I wanted to get for my thesis, it also allowed me to do my internship in Savonia, which I did an internship for 5 months in the communications department. And that was basically the internship that opened me the doors to the work where I am currently at. So basically, since last spring, what has happened was that I graduated. I was super happy. Like for a lot of people, the summers are like, you know, like, ooh, summer, it's the time to relax, to enjoy, to chill. But for me, because, you know, besides having my normal studies at the university, I have also been working, like ever since I actually started my university degree. I started working in a restaurant as a helper, I would say you would call it as a cleaner, but in Finnish it's actually aputyöntekijä, which is kind of like a helper. Like, I was not a waitress, but I was not like necessarily a cleaner. So I was like a busser. Thing is that I was working all the time as I was studying. So for me, all the summers as a foreigner living in Finland, the summers are summers and Christmas and holiday days are the only times where foreigners can work as many hours as they want, and there is no limit. Because for foreigners, when you are in Finland and you are on their student residence permit, you can only work 25 hours per week. So for me, while all the summers means for most of the people that, it's summer holidays, we chill, we relax. For me, like all the summers was like, to my boss, like, Kade, are you ready to work? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to work. So all my summers, unless I had been traveling to Mexico, but I have not done that for quite a while. All the summers was like work. And that's what I did. I was working, it was like, I think it was a very nice summer. I think actually like last summer was a very nice summer, but it has been like 2 summers, so I don't remember for sure. Anyway, the point is that I was working. And after that, I was actually getting super nervous, because at the end of my internship, we had a discussion with my boss, and I was waiting until we could kind of figure out whether I would have an opportunity to continue working in Savonia, or whether, you know, that opportunity wouldn't exist. But basically I was in a wait until August, and it was in August of 2019 that I kind of like got to know that, you know, I did had an offer to work or to keep my work, but not anymore as an intern in Savonia. And on August 2019, just after I graduated, I signed my first contract to be a marketing assistant at the university. And I was freaking happy. So yeah, I guess that after a very busy summer, I just started working as a marketing assistant. It was a very busy start because, you know, of course it's nice to be an intern, but when I started there as a marketing assistant, it was like, well, you know, now it's time to do, and now I like, you know, it doesn't mean that I was not doing a great job as an intern. I just mean that the expectations are higher because I have like my own areas of responsibilities, which as an intern you still do have, but you do have your supervisor that is kind of like more responsible for you. And in this case, I had more like, you know, these are my responsibilities and these are just like my responsibilities. So it was a very, you know, crazy time because I actually signed my contract in August 2019, but I actually started working until September. So I started working in September. I got a 9-month contract. So because it was a 9-month contract and I had a permanent position as a waitress, I didn't give up my waitressing job. Like that was like a permanent contract, so I decided to just keep it. So I started working at the university and it was like a crazy time. I started just by updating some of the flyers for our bachelor programs. Then I started working on planning the campaigns for the promotion of our programs for the January intake. So I was basically just very, very immersed in my work. And I must say that it was very hectic, but in a way that I really liked it. I guess like the best part of getting to work right after I graduated from university was that since it was in an area that was like quite related to my studies, or at least to the things that I really like. I have always liked marketing. I've liked making videos, you know, especially or back then when I didn't have to be in front of the camera because I rather film someone else rather than film myself because I was not feeling, you know, secure enough. But that has changed. So I think the coolest part was to work in a place where I didn't felt that I was necessarily working. You know, I was always super excited to, you know, just go to work and be like, okay, what are we gonna do today? Like, are we gonna be working on website? Are we gonna be working with the students? Are we gonna be working on projects? Are we gonna be planning the next campaign? Are we gonna, you know, like be thinking about the strategy? Like, what are we gonna be doing today? And it was like just very, very exciting. On the side, I was doing my waitressing job at like maybe less hours. I think that for all that time I had way less hours because I was just working evenings and weekends. And then nothing. Then Corona came. Hello, Corona. And that was like a really hard time. I don't think I want to go very into details. I think like I cannot talk from Finland as a whole because I have just been all this time in Kuopio. But I do think that maybe Finland experienced a very different COVID compared to, for example, my home country, like Mexico. When I have been talking with my parents, the way in which COVID has affected it, well, it has been very different. To be honest, in Kuopio, we had very, well, like hard times, but you know, I guess maybe the hardest time was when like restaurants started to be closed, bars started to be closed, cafeterias, like all these, you know, places to eat closed. And when people start kind of, I think like when everything started, because actually I feel a little bit bad because I really wasn't much aware about like what was the situation with the virus until one of our Chinese applicants asked me whether Savonia does organize exams abroad, at least in China. So one applicant asked me that, yeah, are you going to organize the entrance exam in China because of the pandemic? And I was like, well, in that time it was not yet a pandemic. but it was growing. It was like an expanding virus. So I was like, what is this person talking about? So I went to talk with one of my bosses, and I asked like, okay, so what's going on with the entrance exam in China? And it was then when I realized like, okay, well, actually the exam, we're not gonna have entrance exam in China. We're gonna have to think about something else. And everything started to come, I think, like really, really fast after that, in March. Because there was this one day when I went to work, and then one of my co-workers, because I had bought plane tickets to Mexico in April, and then I had obviously to cancel them, but it was one day in March, and one of my coworkers said like, oh Hadi, I hope that you have not bought your plane tickets to Mexico through the States, because it's like, you know, borders are closed. And I was like, pardon? And that day, that was in the morning. Then later in the afternoon, they said like, okay, well, actually like Denmark has also closed borders. And we were all like, what? And then I started going, you know, to just pick my groceries. And I think like, you know, I started seeing like, you know, there was a lot of people there. But I was like, you know, it's 4 o'clock, you know, it's usually like this. And then the next day that I went, the day after that, I went again to the grocery store, because for me, at that time when I was not a student, getting a lunch as an employee is like 10 euros. So sometimes I just rather go eat to a grocery store that it's near the university, because there's like a Hesburger, or I can just go to the grocery store and get a salad, or just something fast to eat. And there were so many people. Like they were so many people. They were like picking like everything. We had like the thing that was, I guess, like everywhere with the toilet paper. And I was just like, oh my God, what is happening? I got scared. I really did got scared. And well, that's basically when everything started. I guess like the biggest changes, like that day, I remember I went back to university, and my boss told me, this is the last day that you're gonna be here. We're gonna all be moving to distant work. And I was like, all right. So I moved to do distant work, or work from home, remote work. And yeah, everything started to kind of like fall into place. I guess that in Finland, the transition, from my perspective, it wasn't that hectic. I guess like people didn't struggle. In my experience, like from what I saw, I don't think people struggled that much to adapt to remote work and to having like, you know, Teams meetings or Zoom meetings. I think that was quite fluent. But yes, basically all the spring, as for everyone, was just about doing remote work. The restaurants closed, which meant that I was not anymore working at the restaurant, but I was transferred to work at a grocery store, a small grocery store in Finland called Sale. I had a very good time working in Sale, especially because I got to do evening shifts and I was able to be alone. In the restaurant, I've never been kind of like left alone. Well, now it's different, but before Corona, I was always with kind of like the shift manager, but you know, never alone. So it was really nice to also start getting the experience of working in a place where I get to be alone and I can kind of get to be the responsible person for that time. You know, for me, that was like a big milestone. And yeah, so that was basically the spring. I guess that this time has been just difficult for a lot of people. I guess I had like some of my most stressful time. That was March, April, and May. But I think that I got just in such a panic mode because I had a 9-month contract in Savonia, which I didn't knew that whether my contract was gonna get renewed or not. And so many people were, there were so many people that were being left without their job that I was like, oh my God, help. I had moved to my own apartment, the apartment where I'm living now, the apartment in which I won't live starting from November because I'm moving actually. But it it was very stressful because like my contract was going to end in May, and I had moved to a new apartment, and I had no clue what was going to happen. So I was in such a panic mode that I just started working like as crazy. Like every single evening shift that I had, it was like, I can't take it. Every single available weekend shift that I could take, I took it. Like I worked as I had not worked in a long time, just because I was in such a panic mode that what am I gonna do? I am in Finland. If I don't get hired, to continue my work, like what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with my hours from the restaurant if the restaurants are closed? I'm not gonna have the money to sustain myself. Like, what is this? So I was very, very in a panic mode. And what I decided to do is to work. Work. I also had a remote work with an American company, so I was also working there. Then they had to stop because, Corona. But yeah, I was like work, and stress. And I remember there was this time that I was very, very, just very sad because I just didn't know what was gonna happen with me. And with this, I know that everyone had a very hard time. So by any means, I wanna be like, oh, Jade had it like so hard, poor Jade. Like, no, we all had a very, very hard time. And this is just me sharing what was my reality and what was my story. That, as a foreigner, like if I did not have my job, it's not like the Finnish government would somehow, maintain me or give me money or something, If I was not part of any kind of like employee security thing. So basically, if I did not have a work, it was it. And I was like, okay, cool, I have my credit card, but if I reach the certain limit, then, that's it. So with all this stress, I think all this uncertainty, all this fear, what caused me was simply to light up. And what happened was that I just had to light the fuck up. And I had to think about what was I gonna do as a person to, be able to pay for myself, or at least try to pay for myself, even if a company wouldn't hire me. And yeah, so I think that those months were not only the months where I worked the most, they were also some of the months that I spent the most. I invested in my first kind of like group coaching course to start like my own online business. I really start investing in a lot of online resources because I kind of like, after experiencing how stressful it can be when my entire life or entire income depends on whether I am employed or not, I got really scared, especially because I had to face the reality. And there were some moments when I just really thought, okay, well, if I don't have enough income, I just have to go back to Mexico. And it's not like I wouldn't want to go back to Mexico. I love my country. But just being very real that if there's a point where I just can't afford my living, I can't afford the rent, I can't afford my living in Finland because I'm just not earning enough, I did had to consider the possibility that if I really run out of resources, I need to leave before I am like fully in debt. So yeah, it was a hard time, and but I think that this hard time also brought me a lot of lessons. So that's something that I want to share with you in the part 2 of this video of updates of what has been going on in this year. And that's where I'm gonna continue from, because this has been already like a 20-minute video, and even though I don't care now expressing fully myself or how however long time I want to, I do want to try to avoid making super long videos. At least I'm gonna attempt. But yes, I'm gonna continue this story of what happened after I kind of realized that this is my situation and what am I gonna do and what happens with me when the situation gets tough. And it didn't only got tough for me, it got tough for a lot of people, but I just really want to share what happened with it and what I did with all this stress and frustration and situations and everything. So I hope you stay tuned for part 2 of this video, which I'm actually gonna continue filming in just a moment. So see you in the next video. Bye!